Hey guys, Brandon Woolum hanging out here in Nashville, the GodTube Music Studio, hanging out with three guys who have came here to tell us about some really cool stuff that's going to be going on this October, Huntsville, Alabama. And since it's October and we're sitting here in August, that means you still got time to get your travel plans going. And when you hear about this, you're going to want to get that plane ticket booked. We've got Lewis, Billy, and John with us. Lewis, we're going to start with this first part of this event. It's a big conference, and it's going to end up as a concert at the end of it. So let's start with the conference. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect if they come to Huntsville this October.
Yeah, so the conference is called Our Great Commission Conference, and it's put on by an organization called Grounds for Hope. Grounds for Hope was stood up about 5 years ago by the Tritium Foundation, which is a public charity that was started by Tritium Corporation. And it was really started because we recognized that Christian nonprofits often faced challenges in seeking funding from businesses. A lot of businesses won't fund Christian outreaches because they're trying to be politically correct or whatever the reasons are. But we recognize that it's the hope and the love of Christ that's really going to make a difference to people. So we set up Grounds for Hope originally as an awards event. We've given out grants through Grounds for Hope, and we continue to give out grants. We've given out almost $250,000 so far through Grounds for Hope, and we're continuing to do that. That's been the core of what we've done through an awards dinner that we've done for the last 5 years. But this year we're expanding into a conference, and the conference is called Our Great Commission. There's always been a music component to what we've done, and that's because CCM is kind of the soundtrack of my life. So when we came up with Our Great Commission, I was actually thinking of a Union of Sinners and Saints song called Lone Soldier, because what I was thinking about is what is our purpose? As we're talking about these, it's not just about these nonprofit organizations, it's about the role that all of us play in spreading the Great Commission, and it's our Great Commission to go out and spread the hope and love of Jesus and to get people involved in that process. And I was thinking about the song Lone Soldier because a lot of the people that really would resonate with what we're doing, are people who are looking to find their place. And that song really talks about that. Yeah. And I'm going to let them talk about that song because it really was an inspiration for the title of the conference.
Yeah. This was what, 9 years ago now?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it's 9 years ago. Yeah. John and I, we've been friends for a long time. And we were at a conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And friends, yes. Acquaintances at that time.
Acquaintances more than friends because we went to the same church.
His booth was next to my booth, and Billy's a very, very forward guy. I mean, he makes friends with everybody.
John is not.
I'm not. And so I was being my own little self person, and Billy comes over, "Hey, John, what's happening?" I said, "Hi, Billy, how you doing?" And in the conversation says, "We need to get together and write." But in Nashville, that's like saying, "Hello, how are you?" And
I'll never see you again.
I'll never see you again. But he carried it further, and we started writing. And
we actually did.
Yeah, he called me and says, "I've got a studio. Are you busy?" I said, "Oh, you really want to do that?"
Yeah.
And so I went over to the studio, and actually it worked out really well. And one of the songs was Lone Soldier, but it started out as another title, which I thought was stupid.
He did.
And my wife hated it. And I told Billy, I said, "Billy, we can't do this song."
It had angels in it.
My wife, "You don't sing to angels. You don't sing." So I'm okay. And I knew she'd say that.
So you have to listen to your wife.
So I said, "I'll tell you what, let me go and try to rewrite the song and bring it back." And I told my wife, "Listen, you don't like this song? Then help me write." She started and then sort of left, and I got but it came out. Lone Soldier was a beautiful song that really had a message that I think is eternal.
Yeah.
And
so are we going to have to do that song?
I think you do now, yeah.
Now we do.
Oh my gosh, Betty. Well, anyway,
I guess that's on the set list.
Okay.
You got a couple months to figure out the lyrics again.
It's a good song.
Yeah. No, but it was nice, and I when we were told that it was going to be part of the theme, it was like, wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the music people are going to get to hear. You're going to take them back a little bit to kind of when this whole genre started. talk about some of the bands that they're going to see at this Jesus Revolution concert.
Oh, these are all pioneers.
Yeah, all pioneers and new blood, too.
Yeah, yeah.
So the fun thing for me is these were my heroes. These were my Beatles, my Zeppelins, my Queens. They were the groups that, as a 18-year-old kid, I tease this guy right here, you know, about his group because they were an inspiration for me when I was a teenager.
He loves saying that. He loves saying it.
I love it.
In other words,
So
you're a lot older than Z.
Because we're going to MC the whole evening and we're going to have a great time kind of, you know, honoring all these groups. Yeah. And it will be a special time. There's going to be, well, Love Song, which was the band that started it all. They will be there. We don't have Chuck. We just lost him a couple weeks ago, but we're going to celebrate his life as part of that. So we're in the realms of figuring out that the rest of the band guys are coming. So it'll be a wonderful, actually, I think God will use it in a great way. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just letting the things, but Chuck was looking so forward to being here.
Let's talk just a little bit about how the concert
for sure
fits, because it's Our Great Commission Conference, and I mentioned the Lone Soldier, and we didn't really even get to talk about why that song inspired that. There's a line in that song that says, "We all have a gift to use," and that was really what I keyed on.
That's great.
And that song really talks about people who are in a transition period of life, and you know, and their circumstances change. And, you know, how is God going to continue to use them? And a lot of people find that throughout life, is you feel like you're right where you're supposed to be, and all of a sudden the circumstances change. How does God want to use me where I am right now, right here? Yeah. And that's really what the conference is focusing on, is helping people to plug in. And the conference is being presented by an organization called Mission Increase. Mission Increase is a national organization that helps Christian nonprofits. They're an incredible organization. They're providing a lot more depth to what we're able to do, because they go in and they mentor these organizations, and they help nonprofit organizations create biblically based approaches to fundraising, and to help them have biblically based ways to run their organizations better. But that's not just about the nonprofit organizations. It's also about the connections with the donors, the connections with the churches. And this conference really has the theme of bringing churches, nonprofits, individuals, and businesses all together to be a part of our Great Commission. And Mission Increase will do an incredible job. There's 3 tracks in the conference. Transformational Living, which talks about discovering your kingdom assignment. And then you've got a whole track that's about collaboration, and another track that's about making disciples wherever you are. So that conference is the 2 days that take place. Built within that, we have our awards event on the first night, which was what we started with, and where we recognize individuals and organizations. They can go to our website and nominate those organizations, and then we present grants, for organizations through these awards. But part of the whole purpose of the awards events is to tell the stories of these nonprofit organizations, to help them tell their stories of how faith makes a difference. We invite in businesses to come in and let them look at these organizations maybe through a different lens than they're typically used to looking at them, but to see the depth of what they do to make a difference. And we've always looked for memorable and meaningful ways to do that. So from the very beginning, music has been part of that, because what better way to tell stories than through music? So this year we have the opportunity with the conference to have the awards event and this concert event. And so the concert event is on the second night. And we'll come back to the conference again. I'm going to go ahead and cover the rest of the conference, because there's one other aspect in the conference that's really cool, which we have a guest speaker that's coming in for the lunches that I think is really cool. His name is Scott Cutland. And Scott is he was a high earner executive in a company. He was living the American dream, just out there, just in his dream job. And he felt like God called him to do something completely unreasonable. And actually 4 things that were completely unreasonable. The first one was to quit that job. And the second one was to go climb the 7 summits.
Yeah.
So you know what the 7 summits are now?
I know now.
The seven summits are the highest peak on
Yeah.
each continent. And that was pretty unreasonable because he wasn't a mountain climber.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
but he just felt a strong calling to go do that. And then he also felt called to start a nonprofit, which he didn't know what that was for. But he also felt called to fund it himself, which was really unreasonable because he just quit his job. But he did this. He followed God in following this calling. And then he wrote a book about it. And he's going to be there sharing what it's like to just really follow God's calling, even if it seems kind of unreasonable.
Yeah.
And I know
I love
you
that.
guys have, in your
It's
ministry.
always been unreasonable.
Yeah. Really, to the world, doing Christian rock was unreasonable. It was, why are you doing that? Many times people came to me, why are you doing this? You know, you were part of a secular group. Weren't you doing great there? You've got to understand there's a lot more that it wasn't unreasonable. To the world's eyes it was, but to me it was absolutely what I was supposed to do because I was listening to God.
Exactly.
I was listening to the Lord, and he gave me a second chance, and that to me was absolutely reasonable in my life.
Yeah.
The only thing I could do, which again to the world seems unreasonable.
And I think sometimes, not all of us are going to be called to climb the 7 summits, but we are called to follow his calling, and whatever that is, to have confidence in doing what you're doing, to do it for God. And I think it's going to be real inspiring through the conference. But getting back to the concert I'm so excited about because, like Billy mentioned, this is bringing in the pioneers, minus Petra, although John.
Well,
there.
we'll
The pioneers.
see. We've got a little glimpse. We are doing a Petra song.
Okay.
We know Petra can strip it down. They can do the acoustic stuff because they just did a whole acoustic tour. So it doesn't take much. You can get John up there, get him a guitar or a guitar player.
But these are the pioneers, and even if you don't know these artists, it's just such a historic occasion to bring them together. And I so hate that Chuck's not going to be there. He was so looking forward to this. I had the opportunity to meet him, and what an incredible man he was, and just really being just a tremendous example for generations of Christian.
He
musicians.
texted me a month ago and just said, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I am so sorry. He was really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And but it's going to be a celebration for him. And the rest of the band is coming. For me, my unreasonable calling kind of through thick and thin with John and meeting and doing what we do is the ability to pay it forward. Those guys, Honeytree, Phil Keaggy, Randy Matthews was a huge early influence. Randy Stonehill, Phil Keaggy, and they're all going to be there. And Dan Huff's coming, and and that's going to be fun. Dan started White Heart with me early on, and Dan produced John's solo record. So there's a lot of
First two, actually.
cool threads coming through this. And Dan doesn't play out much anymore. He just put out a new album. I'll do a little plug. He'll like that. Yeah. And it's an amazing record. But he's going to come and be part of. Randy Matthews was a big inspiration. There's a lot of threads. So I feel like those artists, for me, they paid it forward for groups like Petra and White Heart and all of those. And Music City Collective, we're paying it forward to put into those new artists that are going to be
I don't think
there.
we've talked about them yet.
No,
We haven't yet. We need to. So you're just kind of talking about the Music City Collective. This is kind of what started this is what made the music take off. We had been doing little things. We would have a guest come in. John actually came in and sang for us one year, and did a song, but it was always just kind of doing a song until Billy got involved, and Billy came up with that. He actually came up with the idea, but we started taking the nominations that we get for Grounds for Hope and taking some of the best ones of those nominations. And then Billy takes those and reads those and works with his artist. And they've been producing songs that are inspired by these nonprofit organizations. And it has been so incredibly impactful. to these organizations. But this is how we're looking at growing what we're doing. I look at Grounds for Hope as a start of really a movement to change the way people think about faith and outreach. And let's not think about it in terms of who are we going to offend. Let's think about it in terms of who are we going to share the hope and love of Christ with, because that's what's really going to make a difference to people. And so the music in these organizations, the way that we're using these songs is we're writing songs that are inspired by these organizations, and then they have that song as a way to help them tell their story. But I'll also tell you how we're using it in the future, and we'll come back to what we're doing in this concert. But Billy, and one of his artists wrote a song called Evermore. Cat Wells.
Cat Wells.
And so I had the opportunity to go up to Chattanooga. This was an organization in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's an organization called the Unmarried Wife, and they have a home for women called the Evermore House. And that's what the song was inspired by. It was inspired by the nominations. We had so many nominations for that organization in our event last year, and all of these people were writing and sharing their stories about the impact that this ministry makes. And we wrote the song, and what we do now is we'll write the song, and then we'll take and show it to the organization. So I went to meet the lady that runs the Unmarried Wife Ministry, along with a pastor friend of mine. We met her at the Frothy Monkey in the Chattanooga Choo Choo. I just like saying that. And she didn't know why we were coming. She had no idea why we were there. I mean, she might have had some idea because she was at our event the previous year where we did some songs, but she didn't know for sure because we didn't tell her. But we went there and we sat down with her and we told her we had this song, and we let her put on some headphones and listen to it. And immediately just the tears started rolling down her face. And she listened to it, and we sat and watched her listen to it awkwardly. Yeah. And she took off the headphones and she said, "I didn't expect it to be so beautiful." And then we started telling her how we're going to use that song. So what we're going to do with that song is next year, we're going to go do a concert event in Chattanooga. And we're going to feature her organization with the Music City Collective and a special guest.
Yeah.
And we're going to feature her organization. We're going to raise money for her organization. We're going to invite all the other Christian nonprofits in town to come in so that we can have a nonprofit fair. And then we'll network with churches to get them to bring their people in so they can connect with these nonprofit organizations. And we're just going to have a celebration of faith, a kind of a miniature Grounds for Hope event in that city to really lift up that organization. And when I told her that, she, again, started crying. And she told me, she said, this has been a really hard week. She said, they had a lady come into their office that they really wanted to help, but their resources were just too thin. And they said they couldn't take on another person. And it just broke her heart. And she was been struggling with it all week. That's how invested these people are in these ministries. She wanted to help this lady so bad, but her resources were too thin to bring her into the house. And so she said she had sat in the car before she came in and said, "God, please just let this be an encouraging meeting." And that's what it was for her.
That's amazing.
And so these music songs, the songs are very impactful, and they're going to be opening for the Jesus Revolution concert, including the Evermore song and some other songs. I'll let Billy talk more about.
And Kat doesn't even realize the power of what they've created. So the paying it forward is big for me because I saw a movie, I think, as a kid about paying things forward. We don't do enough of that. And these artists, to give them a purpose besides themselves, I think John and I were talking a little about it. When we're in our careers, we're in our mindset of doing what we're meant to do. We don't think outward at all. And just having these opportunities to bring ideas to artists that love to write. And we're going to reimagine songs from the past heroes. So Kat is actually singing a Honeytree song from 30 years ago with Keaggy playing guitar on it. And it's magical. And Honeytree's singing on it. So those are some of the fun things for me. You know, it's like a candy store. I mean, I've got my heroes, I've got new artists, I've got friends, and we're having fun in music, because music, you just don't know financially how it even works anymore.
Yeah.
There's no rules. It's changed so much. So if you lose the pleasure and the joy of performing, writing, singing, whatever it is you do, this gives a little focus, and it's been a real blessing for me to put together this album. This is a collection of the first volume of songs we've done. So the Jesus Revolution concert is just, I'd love to do it 5 or 6 other cities if Lord, helps us put the message out and do this.
Yeah, so
they're not going to be around forever, as we well know. So it's our history, and the Christian industry hasn't done such a good job of recognizing those who have come before us, So
if somebody's watching this, they're very touched by this conversation, but they're out in California in October. They can't make it to Huntsville.
Yeah.
How do they help you guys keep this mission going, even if they can't make it there, other than just buying a ticket and not coming?
Yeah.
Well, they can reach out to us and we can talk to them. We want to that's the thing we want to do. We want this to be the way our vision for the future is. There'll be a conference in Huntsville annually in which we'll have a big concert event. And then we're going to take the event out to other cities,
we're
doing in Chattanooga. And so
I grew up in Detroit, so it's like a Motown review.
Yeah. And those can be different variations. We can take the Jesus Revolution concert to other places. We can take the Music City Collective with a special guest. There's different variations that we can take to different cities to spread the message, this movement of Grounds for Hope. What we try to do with Grounds for Hope is energizing, encouraging, and equipping faith and outreach. So the energizing, a lot of that really comes through these concert events. It's a celebration of faith.
Yeah.
And so the concert events are a huge part of that. And the encouraging, a lot of that comes through our conference and the teaching. The Mission Increase is bringing in to help them and through the stories that we tell as well, the stories of impact, the stories of faith making a difference.
Yeah. We talked about some of the genre history there. I just talked to the Archers last week, and we literally spent 45 minutes just talking about all these fun stories.
Yeah.
So we got to talk to you two about that a little bit too, because I love hearing the stories. We're getting to an era where some of the people that are my age and slightly younger may not know about the history. They hear the radio Christian music. They think that's just always been around, and everybody always embraced it. That, of course, we know wasn't the case. So take us back to kind of like when you remember that it clicked and the criticism stopped and people kind of embraced Christian rock and roll and brought you into their churches and stuff.
Well, you start, because you've got some definite opinions.
Well, when I'm trying not to, but that's why. I think with Petra, I joined when Petra had already been at a peak, and I didn't know anything about these pioneers that we're talking about now. And when I started, we went on a dive because they all know you can't replace a singer like Greg, who is an amazing singer, and so we had to really work our way back up. And in doing that, we did an album called "This Means War," which was like it just really exploded. But
was that your first one?
No, that was actually a second. "Back to the Street" was the first one, and we had "A Thankful Heart," which helped.
Yeah.
That was the first single that went number one with me. But I think when we broke was when we did the Petra Praise One, the Rock Cries Out. And it was totally unique to the industry at the time. And the churches go, well, it exploded too. It really was just a gift to the church to help youth groups sing. That was all it was for. It really wasn't even going to be a CD. And it turned into a CD, and it turned into one of the best-selling CDs we've ever done. Yeah. And it opened up the church's heart to where, for all that time, it was, rock and roll's terrible. It's from hell. Until they realized it's an exciting music form that can sing about the most exciting subject in the history of mankind, that's Christ. And but they had to, it almost, that praise and worship album, they had to go, oh, wow, if these guys can do this, maybe we should check them out and other things. And I think for us that really opened the door. And I remember Bob and I looking over, we were in a second level of a music hall, and we looked out and the parking lot was nothing but buses everywhere, youth group buses. And I remember Bob going, oh my gosh, I think we're finally accepted. And I remember him saying that because I was still sort of new, and I'd only been in for 2 years or so in the Christian industry, and I saw almost a thank you Jesus moment for him, and I didn't even appreciate it until later. And that statement kept coming back to me, and that's, I understand why the church was fighting us all the way, because they'd been taught that for centuries. And it wasn't their kind of music. It wasn't what they expected to hear. There was no venturing out to see what could be the next way of bringing people in, especially the kids. So it was a challenge. I mean, those first 2 years of stuff, I was totally shocked at the fact that the world accepted us and the church didn't. I thought it was totally going to be different. I figured the world would hate us and the church would say, well done, faithful servant, but no. The world goes, hey, these guys are really good. We don't like what they're singing about, but they're really good. And the church is going, you're from hell. Okay, thank you. And so that was a challenge during that time period. But man, the music, and there was a lot of great bands, including White Heart. There was DeGarmo Key. There was Myland. I mean, there were a bunch of good bands out there that were making a big difference and singing in front of a lot of people and having altar calls. That's where we give the message and people actually come and give their lives to the Lord. That's what altar call is called. I know it's disappeared, but it was really an amazing way of watching how music could be used as a tool.
Yeah, I mean, the stories that stick out, Billy, from those days?
Well, I mean, John's pretty much summed it up. We had a tragic incident with our lead singer, so that put us on a path in '85 that shook our hearts. We said, because we came into it wanting to do incredible music that we heard growing up. Our influences were some of those groups like Steely Dan, Toto, Queen, Zeppelin, musically. And when that happened, we didn't know if we'd get picketed because they liked the first kind of an excuse to say, but we did an album called Don't Wait for the Movie, which we got a new lead singer, untested, untried. And we just said, God, we kind of lay it out there. Mark wrote a great song called 70 times 7. And so songs and music and kind of the periods kind of shook us to say, let's understand why we're doing what we're doing.
And with those challenges, you have to. You got to go, Lord, do you want us to do this? In fact, there was one day where after a show that was very disappointing as far as attendance, we all sat in the bus and goes, are we still supposed to do this? And I remember Bob going, listen, let's everybody go home. Let's pray about this. And if we're supposed to keep on doing, great. If not, God has something else. And we all came back. And I think Bob, again, being sort of the spokesman at the time, said, you know what? I feel like God is telling us we are supposed to keep going. And everybody totally agreed. He says, but we have to be available. We have to be available for whatever he is offering us. And not that we weren't before, but I think it was a wake-up call. He's got, you know what? If God wants us to play for 10 people from now on, praise God, that's what he's given us the talents to do. And I think that attitude really softened us up a little. And one thing is to thank you, Lord, for allowing us to have the talents you've given us, but also thank you for that that eye opener. And once that was done, once we went that attitude, then everything sort of exploded. Just we have to be available for anything, and you have to soften your heart. And so in music, I mean, it's competitive. I mean, we always tried to do better in White Heart, and we've succeeded. No,
you'll hear some jokes back and forth.
I'm sorry, that wasn't very nice.
No, that's good.
But anyway, it was competitive. You wanted to, but in our hearts, we were competing against the secular counterparts, because our message was so different from theirs that I'll show you my age. Back when cars had push button radios, AM radios, and you geared all the this button was so and so station. All we asked is that one of those stations was a Christian station, and that Christian station was playing Christian rock and roll that was the quality of any secular counterpart. Yeah. And White Heart was doing it. Yeah. Petra was doing it. DeGarmo Key was doing it. A lot of, and then a new batch DC Talk and Guardian, and just the next branch were coming in, and they were providing music that could be played on Christian radio if they had the courage. That kids would play in their car and say, "Oh, you like that? Well, listen to this. Who's that? It's a Christian band." Really? And it was a great witness. And so these were all challenges that went on in Christian music, and it hasn't changed. I mean, it's just a different style of music now, but I guarantee they're probably still going in that direction. Yeah. Trying. I think there's a lot of challenges right now, and that's good, because this is God's music. This is God's genre. And every time the enemy tries to come in and mess it up, he has a tendency of going, "Okay, time to clean house a little." And because this is my house. Yeah,
that's good. And we have fun doing the Union of Sinners and Saints. We're kind of a veteran band now.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? Oh my God.
Maybe tell people about that a little bit if they just know the history of you guys and don't know the current version.
Because it is so fun. We actually have as much fun just jabbing each other, because we come from those. We can talk for about an hour on stage.
It's not, in fact, sometimes we talk too much.
And then we'll throw in the songs. But it's fun reimagining Petra songs with the Union of Sinners and Saints, and it's fun imagining White Heart songs.
Yeah, I mean, we do.
He does a killer version of Independence Day that we'll do that evening. We're going to do some songs in addition to talking too. Yeah. So I'll see if I can get Dan up on stage and play a guitar.
Yeah. But it's just fun. It's and we actually we're doing a real band this time, aren't we?
Yeah. What? Your son-in-law is playing?
Yes.
We're going to have a killer band, Anthony Salee from White Heart, Dan Needham on drums, who's John's son-in-law.
I proudly say.
Yeah. I keep asking him to get him in his own band, but...
No, he's too expensive.
That's it. He's too expensive. He's really good. I use Dan a lot. So.
No, you can afford it. But
I love it.
We're honored to be sort of the host of the
host of the event, and we'll have a band that supports all the musicians.
Yeah. And artists.
So quick turnarounds. There's not going to be a lot of sitting around with no music.
We're going to do the hits from the Jesus Revolution, definitely the 2 or 3 most popular songs
from each person.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to it, because I don't know them. I don't know the songs.
I know every one, every word. I'm going to be playing and singing on them. Because
I'm probably going to be the only one on stage that doesn't know the song. But
I'll send you the library.
Oh, thank you, buddy, so much. No, but we should have a lot of fun.
It's going to be a great event. And seriously, road trip, if you can make it, we'd really encourage you. It's at a hall. It's not a church. You want to give the information?
Yeah, just a little bit of information about attending. So this is the Grounds for Hope, Our Great Commission conference and events.
Yeah.
But everything in this is priced a la carte. So if you come to the conference, you can get significantly discounted tickets to the concert event through the conference. But you can also get the concert tickets standalone if you go through Ticketmasters, which is the venue, the preferred mechanism for the venue. But it's in the Mars Music Hall in Huntsville, Alabama, and then the conference is in the Saturn Hall at the same conference center. But again, you can come to as much or as little as you want to of the conference and events. So if you want to come in and spend the day, you can come and just go to one day, and it's priced out that way so you can pick and choose.
Yeah, and if people want to explore all these ticket options, where can they go for one easy link to everything?
Yeah, the easy link to find out more is g4hope.com.
And it's October 14th.
Yeah, it's October 13th and 14th. The
Yep.
concert is on the 14th.
Yeah.
So.
And we're going to have a VIP. You're going to be there. You don't know this yet. But we're going to have a Q&A, which will be as fun as the concert, I guarantee you. Because we're going to have all the artists just having a great time. And
That will
It's going to
be
be an hour-long version of what we just had for 10
well,
minutes.
an hour and a half, probably.
I'll give you a little bit of disclaimer on that, though. The Ticketmaster's VIPs are almost sold out. So if you want a VIP ticket, you need to. If you're only coming to the concert and you want to do Ticketmaster's tickets, you'll have to go get out there pretty quick because there's not a lot of them left. There's a few more left if you come into the conference. So if you don't see it on Ticketmaster's, check out the conference and come to part of the conference too.
Great.
Yeah, that way we'll probably save you a few dollars on fees too if you come direct, right?
Yeah, you save money on fees and it's discounted if you come to the conference. So, and the conference is going to be
Probably a life-changing conference. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Do you ever post any of the video of this conference if people aren't able to make it and they want to see some of these powerful stories that you told us about today?
We've talked about it. We're not sure what we're going to do as far as afterwards, but
We are taping it. We know that much, but
right.
we don't know from there.
We don't know if you'll see it or not if you don't come. So you have to come October.
No promises if you don't buy a ticket.
Yeah. October 13th and 14th. Go ahead, get your plans ready. Huntsville, Alabama. You got a couple months to get your plane tickets or your car gassed up. Come down and join everybody for this fun weekend.